You can bet your bottom dollar. Great programming coming up next on the Stewart Media and Entertainment Network. Stand by. Hold on. Talk at its finest, coming up next on the Stewart Media and Entertainment Network. In about 2 minutes, stand by. We know what guys are talking about. Stand by. A great show coming up next on the Stewart Media and Entertainment Network. In about 30 seconds. Stand by. Don't go away. Stop. If they're talking about it at the barbershop, we're talking about it here on SME. Great show coming up in about 30 seconds. Don't go away. Stand by. It's time. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Another great product on the Stewart Media and Entertainment Network. Yeah!
I'd like to welcome everybody to the Grizz, and of course, I'm your host, Rashad Grismore. Have a fun and a very exciting show for you today. I was watching the Laker game, and the Lakers, they suck. I watched them yesterday, but because I was watching the Laker game, I forgot to sit there and watch CP3 and company lose to the Golden State Warriors. And here's the thing about this. And I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about these point guards and how they are not up to the task of trying to really go at Steph Curry. I'm not liking what I'm seeing, so I want to talk about that. LeBron James, he's at it again. It seems like LeBron James, he's that type of individual that when nobody is talking about him, he gets upset. Oh, they're not talking about me, so I have to do something to get people to talking about me. I'm going to talk about that. And then boxing. Y'all know I love my boxing. Andre S.O.G. Ward is fighting this Saturday. I mean, y'all know how I love my boxing. And yeah, but what I want you to do is sit back, relax, and enjoy me. And let's get it. And let's get it. Thank you, everyone out there, for tuning in to Meet the Grizz, however it is that you are tuning in. So, yes, Russ Smith scored a D-League record 65 points for the Delaware 86ers. Yes, Russ Smith. Yeah, man, that boy is bad. 65 points for the Delaware 86ers, man. Russ Smith, he's no joke. I'm trying to tell you, that boy is bad. To be able to score 65 points, what? Really? That boy right there, he's no joke to be able to score that amount of points. Okay, let me stop it. For real, let me stop this. This is the D-League, and this is a joke. I hope y'all understand that this is a joke. 65 points in the D-League, it's like, okay, so what? Who really cares? At the end of the day, can he go to the NBA where the big dogs lie and be able to do this? And I don't think so. But here's the thing that separates D-League players from NBA players. The thing that I've seen when I've seen D-League players come up and they try to play on the NBA level, one of the main things that separate them is the fact that they don't play defense. Yeah, they can score the basketball, but everybody and their mama can score the basketball. What makes you special? What can you do? Can you rebound the basketball? Can you block shots? Can you be a lockdown defender? What attributes do you bring to the game that somebody else don't bring? What makes you special? Why do I need to keep you on the basketball floor? Why? What? Because you can score points? See, when you think like that, you're not going to be able to make it in the NBA. You have to do things that other people don't want to do. You have to be able to do that. We've seen this on countless occasions where guys who wasn't skilled offensively, but they were still able to make a huge impact for their teams. Guy that comes to my mind is Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman couldn't score if his life depended on it. But what did Dennis Rodman do? He was an irritant, and he sit there and he grabbed a number of rebounds. Trust and believe me, Michael Jordan would not have won all of those championships without the worm. He just wouldn't have did it. But yeah, so this is to all D-League players. And because I was talking, I got out of breath, so I had to take a deep breath. But this is to all D-League players out there. Do something other than just score the basketball. Learn the game of basketball. Do something that makes you stand out besides scoring the basketball. Now, LeBron James, LeBron James is the type of guy that if he's not in the limelight, he has a fit. He throws temper tantrums, and he has to do something to make himself relevant. Nobody has really talked about LeBron James this year. Nobody really hasn't done that. Everything has been on Steph Curry. Steph Curry has been gaining all the awards from the public, and rightfully so. Steph Curry, he's a beast. He deserves all of the accolades. But LeBron James, on the other hand, he doesn't like that. How we know this? Just think about the little press conference. No, well, not so much a press conference, the interview that he had with the reporter and things like that a few days ago. And then this news story when he talks about how he would like to play with D-Wade, Melo, and CP3. This is something that he would like to do. See, when you hear things like this, it's like, okay, yes, he's seeking the attention of the media. It's like, I'm LeBron James. You're not talking about me. I don't like this. Like, he's a kid. Like, he does what my daughter do. My daughter does things like that. If me and her mother, if we're hugging, she's like, okay, I'm not in the mix. So I have to go over there and I got to get me a hug too. I'm not liking that. And that's LeBron James. But I want to get off into what he's talking about and what does this mean for his legacy if he decides that he wants to opt out and these guys, let's just say hypothetically speaking, that these guys get together and they form a super quadruple team. What does that mean for LeBron James' legacy? For me, what does that mean? His legacy means absolutely nothing. This would be the second time that he sit there and he jump ship to a team that is like a powerhouse. Not a team that was built through the draft or a player was brought here to change the landscape of a team and he was the focal point of a team. No, this would be the second time that he has to get together with other great players in order for him to win. So what does that really say about LeBron James? Yes, he was a phenomenon. Yes, he's an exceptional athlete, an exceptional talent. But is he truly, truly great? The answer would be no. As of right now, I can't sit there and I can't say that, oh, LeBron James is the greatest three-man that the game has ever seen. I can't say that. I will not say that. I'm going to always go with Larry Bird. Why? Larry Bird sit there and he took his lumps. He lost to Magic, but then he also beat Magic. He beat Hakeem Olajuwon. He did that. LeBron James, I understand that he wants to win, but he needs to have some kind of dignity. He needs to have some kind of pride about himself and not going around chasing championships. I mean, but here's the thing, though, and I have to be honest, if he was to leave, hypothetically speaking, if he was to leave, I can't sit there and say that I'm upset. I can't say that for the main reason, and I speak about this all the time on this show, coaching. Coaching is so vital. People really don't understand how pivotal coaching really is. People really don't understand that. And I'll give you an example as this. Michael Jordan, when Mike used to go up against the Bad Boys Pistons, they would sit there and mangle him. Yes, he would score his buckets, but it would take a lot out of him to score those buckets under Doug Collins. Why? Doug Collins had him on the wrong part of the floor. He had him at the top of the key, which means that you got all of those bad boys looking dead at him, and he wound up taking a beating. So what ends up happening is he gets Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson's like, no, we're going to put you in the mid post. That's where we're going to put you. A step, mid post, high post. We're going to put you there. Now, if they do decide to double team, now you'll be able to kick it out to the John Paxsons of the world. You'll be able to the Craig Hodges of the world, the Scottie Pippens of the world. You'll be able to make those guys better. And that just lets you know how great of a coach Phil Jackson was and how bad of a coach Doug Collins was because he didn't see it. Coaching is so vital to a player's greatness. I don't care what nobody say. Tom Brady, as great as Tom Brady is, as great as he is, he would be nothing, absolutely nothing without Bill Belichick. And that's just the way in which it is. 9 times out of 10, when you see a great athlete, there's a great coach right next to him. That's how it is. So I can't sit there and I can't say that, oh, I would be mad at LeBron James if he sit there and he partnered up with these guys. I mean, I'm just being honest. I can't sit there and I can't be all the way mad at him because I'm looking and I'm saying, okay, Tyronn Lue, no, it's not going to get the job done, especially when you got to see Greg Popovich. We all know how great of a coach Greg Popovich is. We all know this. We all know that Greg Popovich, when it comes to LeBron James, he guards LeBron James like none other. It's like, LeBron, you can't shoot the basketball. You know you can't shoot the basketball. We know you can't shoot the basketball. Kawhi Leonard, only thing I need for you to do is contest, and if he gets past you, lead him into Tim Duncan. That's all I need for you to do. And it has worked. It's worked. Same thing with Rick Carlisle. Coaching. It's important. I don't care what nobody say. So I can't sit there and say I would be 100% mad if he did it. Now, I have to look at the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I have to look at them like, okay, now this is the second time that you lost him. Now, the first time you lost him, that was on you. You didn't make the right moves. Now, the second time, you're supposed to make sure all the wrong that you did wrong the first time, you don't make them. And it seems like they're doing the same thing over again with the coaching. LeBron James is no fool. Me personally, do I think that he will leave Cleveland? Who's to say? He can opt out after this season. He can make more money. I mean, the man, business-wise, is like he's on a whole nother level. So I can't sit there and say, okay, he's going to stay. He's not going to stay. Who knows what he's going to do? But if he sits there and he partners up with these guys, even though I know what I said about the coach, I know what I said, but then I'm going to have to sit there and then contradict everything that I just said. How can you sit there and play with these guys and try to win a championship with these guys? Hypothetically speaking, if it was to happen, how can I sit there and say, oh, he's a great player when you're playing with other players of his caliber? I can't say that. I can't. I'm sorry. And here's the thing. There's no telling that, let's just say, like I said, hypothetically speaking, that D-Wade, who is, how old is D-Wade? D-Wade is 34. Chris Paul is 30. Melo is 32. LeBron James is 31. So these guys are getting older. Like the clock is ticking. So who's to say that if they do get together, that they're going to actually win a championship? Everybody and their mama swore up and down that they was going to win all of those championships in Miami. Everybody felt that way. I didn't feel that way because I know that chemistry will beat supreme talent, especially if supreme talent doesn't have that chemistry. And let's be honest. In my opinion, it was somewhat of a failure in Miami. Why? They barely beat San Antonio. They barely beat them. That's because Greg Popovich's coaching was so bad. It couldn't get no worse. It was like this. Greg Popovich told the Miami Heat, look, I don't want this championship. And then the Miami Heat was like, well, we don't want this championship. And then Greg Popovich was like, but you don't understand. Like, I really don't want this championship. And then the Miami Heat was like, no, you don't understand. Popovich was like, no, I'm leaving. I don't want it. And then the Miami Heat was like, okay, we're going to take it. And then they sit there, okay, yeah, you beat OKC, but they was a young, inexperienced team. So I can't sit there and say that they did just wonders. They didn't win 3 in a row like Shaq and Kobe. They didn't do that. Yeah, they went to the NBA Finals 4 straight times, but they were 2-2. And then LeBron James sit there and he bolted again. He should have stayed in Miami and seen what Pat Riley could actually do. But he sit there and he went back home. Okay, cool. I have no problem with that. But if he sits there and he goes and he teams up, hypothetically speaking, with D-Wade, Chris Paul, Carmelo Anthony, not LeBron James. If he sits there and he gets with these guys, and Carmelo Anthony has said that if it was to happen, he'll take a pay cut. You think? What has Carmelo Anthony ever done? Like, what has he done? Yeah, he went to a Western Conference playoff and then he lost to the Los Angeles Lakers. No shame in that. But what has he done? Of course he's going to take a pay cut. But, I mean, this is talk radio, so what would they do if they were to get together? Hypothetically speaking, will they win a championship with these guys? It all depends on the coaching. At the end of the day, it all depends on the coaching. Dwayne Wade, he really can't play anymore. I saw Dwayne Wade when he played against, who was that? The last NBA Finals he was in, and he was awful. I'm looking at him, and I'm saying, this dude, what happened to D-Wade? What happened to him? And then Carmelo Anthony, he's starting to slow down, even though, you know, I see certain games, especially when he go up against my Lakers, and I'm like, okay, he still got it. And I'm going to talk about my raggedy-ass Lakers. You know what? I'm just getting so tired of the Lakers. I'm going to talk about them. I am. But I want to get back to LeBron James and company. You know, I don't think that it would be good for his legacy. That's just my personal opinion. If this, hypothetically speaking, I don't think that he would actually play with these guys. The money has to work. And would these guys sit there and take a pay cut? They probably would. Who knows? 30 years old, you want to win. What's the use in playing all those years and you're not a champion? I mean, that's just my personal opinion. The reason why you play sports, number one, is the money. I don't care what nobody say. It's the money. the fame, and then the championships, or the money, championships, then the fame, whatever one. But number one is the money. You want to be able to make money. So these guys made the money. Now you want to be able to win the championship. And, you know, there's a guy on this list that I have to talk about. I really do. I'm not okay with his play and a few other guys. And I'll tell you exactly who that guy is next here on the Grizz. We're back, and this is the Grizz. I made a mistake, and I have to correct myself. It wasn't Carmelo Anthony that said he would take a pay cut. It was LeBron James who told Bleacher Report, who has a feature story on James and Carmelo Anthony and about their relationship, that LeBron James would actually take the pay cut if that was to happen. So I want to, I apologize for that mistake. Now, before the break, I was talking about LeBron James and teaming up with Dwayne Wade and Carmelo Anthony. But there's a guy on this list that I'm just not fine. And it's pretty much because I'm looking at this guy and I'm saying, okay, where is the competitive gene? Where is it? I don't see it. And that's Chris Paul. The Los Angeles Clippers, they lost again yesterday. They lost again yesterday to who? The Golden State Warriors. They were swept during the season series 0-4. It's a wrap. And I'm looking at Chris Paul and I'm saying to myself, you hear everybody say he's this fierce competitor. He rides his teammates hard. I'm here to tell you that if I'm a teammate of Chris Paul, I have to tell Chris Paul, hey man, you need to calm your ass down. You ain't all that good your damn self. Seriously, I'm sitting up there and I'm looking at Chris Paul and I'm saying, okay, yeah, don't get me wrong. Steph Curry, he can go. But you have to make it your responsibility to sit there and say, you know what? Even if I don't score a basket, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to lock this guy down. I'm getting ready to lock Steph Curry down. So other guys, you're going to Jamal Crawford, J.J. Redick, DeAndre Jordan, Mahabute, Paul Pierce, you guys, Austin Rivers, you guys are going to have to sit there and you're going to have to carry the load. Why? I'm getting ready to lock down Steph Curry. So that means that the rest of you guys have to pick up the scoring load, because I got to sit there and I got to lock this guy down. And I'm just not seeing that. And it's just not him. It's just not him. I see that in Russell Westbrook. And here's the thing that gets me. I hear so many people throw this word around so loosely, and I end up doing it myself. I find myself doing the same exact thing, sitting up there saying that, this guy is great and this is a great player. No. I'm not going to sit there and I'm not going to say Chris Paul is a great player. How can he be a great player and he hasn't even made it to the Western Conference? How can I sit there? How can I say that? How can I say that he's a great player and he hasn't even went to an NBA Finals? He's getting up there in age. I'm not sitting up there and I'm not saying that he can't possibly be a great player, but as of right now, he's not a great player. How is it that you allow a team, the defending champions, they're the defending champions, you trying to tell me you can't get one game? I can remember the Los Angeles Lakers. They had fierce competition against the Portland Trail Blazers, against who else is out there? Tim Duncan and company, and Chris Webber. I can't remember during the regular season that the Lakers sit there and they swept them guys. I can't say that. And even if they swept one of those guys, I don't remember them sweeping all of those guys. Steph Curry has dominated Russell Westbrook and he's dominated Chris Paul. But then everybody wants to sit there and talk about they're great players. No, they're not great. They're not great. And even though, and I do the same thing, I get caught up and I say, oh, this guy is great. I even need to stop it. I'm going to rebuke myself for saying that. He's not a great player. He's not. You know what greatness does? When they see other greatness in their face, they take it up the next notch. That's what they do. Magic Johnson did it. When Magic Johnson saw Larry Bird, he was like, okay, that's a great player. So that means I got to bring my A game, because if I don't bring my A game, if I bring a B+ game, he's going to sit there and he's going to win. Damn that. If I bring an A- game, he can beat me. He's not doing that. Neither is Russell Westbrook. I'm looking at these guys and I'm saying, okay, they're not taking on this challenge. Kobe Bryant, trust and believe me, he would have done that. There's no way in the world that Kobe Bryant would have seen somebody that he sees as a threat and just say, you know what, they're going to beat me 4 times in the regular season. He's not going to do that. That's how super competitive he is. Now, don't get me wrong. This is not the postseason. I understand that. But these are the champions. You have to beat the champions. Like, they have a bullseye on their back, and you're trying to tell me that the Oklahoma City Thunder, they haven't beat Golden State? The Clippers, they haven't beat Golden State? It's like, wow. And I'm looking at everybody talks about, well, Chris Paul, he's just this great player, and he's this and he's that. Man, the guy ain't did nothing. What has he done? Don't get me wrong. I love the fact I love his dribbles. He has handles. I like his scrappiness. I like all that. I love it. But at the end of the day, what is that doing for the team? On far too many occasions, I have seen him come up infinitesimal in pressure situations. I've seen it on countless occasions. I've seen it. And it's like, dude, I'm not going to sit there and call you great. Or do you have great talents? Yes. But are you a great player? No. There's a lot of players who have great talent, but they're not a great player. Person that comes to my mind, Vince Carter. To me, Vince Carter had more of a great talent, more natural-born talent than Kobe Bryant. But the thing that separated them was the fact that Kobe Bryant wanted it more, and he worked like he just worked on his game all day, every day. That's what separated them. And I can't sit there and I just like when the Lakers was dominating, when Sacramento and when San Antonio, when they saw the Lakers, it was like, man, we coming to get these guys. We're coming to get these guys. Now, don't get me wrong. Now, there was that one year, was that 2001, when the Lakers in the postseason, they just dominated. They just did what they wanted to do to everybody. That type of streak where they only lost one game in the postseason, that doesn't happen all too often. You'll probably never see that again. Golden State won't do that. But it just really boggles my mind. And then I have to go after this individual too. I just finished talking about coaching. I have to go at Doc Rivers. I have to. I'm tired of everybody sitting up here talking about Doc Rivers is this. Oh, he's a great coach. Let's put everything into its proper perspective when it comes to Doc Rivers. He had Kevin Garnett, he had Paul Pierce, and then he had Ray Allen. So he had 3 future Hall of Famers. And then, not to mention, Tom Thibodeau was a defensive coach. Only thing he had to do was just do something on the offensive end of the ball. Because as we see, no Thibodeau, no defense. That's what we see. So I got to put some of the blame on him too. And then I'm looking at this roster, and I'm saying, okay, where is the talent for the Clippers? J.J. Redick is your 2 guard? Like, really? Like, come on. He only had 9 points. And then you look at Klay Thompson, he got in him. 33 points. He was like, oh, you want some of this? You want some of me? Boom, I got something for you. That's what he did. And then when we look at 3 points, the 3-point shots that was made and missed, J.J. Redick went 1 for 6. He went 1 for 6. But then we look at somebody like Klay Thompson, 7 for 10. Like, that's an important position. Like, I'm looking at their roster, and I'm saying, okay, Paul Pierce, get him out of here. He's not the Paul Pierce of old. I don't even know why he's actually still playing. He needs to, like, go on and retire. Mahabute, like, really? And then J.J. Redick. Come on, that's not a good roster, but the guy, he's the player person, he's the GM. Come on now. If they don't get past the first round, if they don't get past the second round, Doc Rivers should be fired. I'm just being honest. But like, I have to go back to this. I'm tired of people always calling guys great because they have great talent. Yeah, you have great talent, but that don't make you a great player. It doesn't. What makes players great is winning. That's what I respect. I respect winning. Are you winning? That's just me. And not only that, to me, what also symbolized greatness, you lost, and then you picked yourself back up, and then you hit it hard. Muhammad Ali, he did that. Muhammad Ali lost some fights. In my opinion, when he went up against, who was that? Ken Norton. When he went up against Ken Norton, in my opinion, he lost all 3 fights. That's just my opinion. I felt like he lost all 3 fights when I go back and I watch the film. But the thing that made Muhammad Ali great in those 3 fights, Muhammad Ali, he lost one, and he got his jaw broke in the one that he lost, which was the first fight, and then he won the other 2 fights, the second and third fight. But the thing that made Muhammad Ali great was because he took on everybody. Anybody that wanted it, he gave it to them. He never ducked, he never dodged anyone. That's greatness. That's greatness, taking on the challenge, not being afraid of failure. I'm looking at Russell Westbrook, and I'm saying, okay, why you not going at him? Why you're not telling your coach and telling everybody else on the basketball floor, I want him. I want him. I want number 30. I want the light-skinned dude right there with the baby face. I want that guy. Give me him. And if Klay Thompson is getting off, then guess what? I don't want Steph no more. I want Klay Thompson. Take on that challenge. Kobe Bryant would have done it. Trust and believe me. I've seen Kobe do it. Even though the Lakers lost to the Detroit Pistons, Kobe Bryant in that series, he was guarding Tayshaun Prince. He was guarding Chauncey Billups. He was guarding Rip Hamilton. He was guarding everybody because nobody else could guard the perimeter. I seen Kobe Bryant at an old age guarding youngsters, point guards, picking them up full court, doing what he has to do to win. That's that competitiveness. That's greatness. These guys are not great. They're scared to fail. And I don't respect that. So people, I urge you, please just listen to me. And I got to calm down. Let me calm down. I got to calm down. Yeah, I know how I get, so let me calm down. I have to calm down, seriously. Okay, I'm cool now. I'm cool. But the only thing I want people out there to understand is stop calling these guys great when they don't show greatness, when they're supposed to show greatness. Stop doing that. Don't do that. Tom Brady. If we sit there and we look at Tom Brady is great. You know why? Yeah, he won some Super Bowls, and then he lost some heartbreaking Super Bowls. But that didn't stop him from going on. Then he sit there and he went up against LOB, down in that Super Bowl, came back, won. That's greatness. That's what greatness is all about. And I'm looking at these guys that everybody, because for whatever reason, we sit there and we see a guy dunk, we see a guy hit a baseball real far, and we sit there and the first thing that comes to our mind, oh, he's great. No, he might be exceptional. He might be exceptional. Just because you're exceptional, that doesn't mean that you're great. That doesn't mean that you're great because you're exceptional. Those two words are different. So I want people to understand that, yeah, he might be exceptional. He might be a great talent, but that doesn't mean that he's a great player. And I'm just tired of watching these guys go up against Steph Curry and they don't shut him down, because here's the thing. Steph Curry is not going to guard those guys. He's not going to do it. What ends up happening, once the Golden State Warriors, once they sense that Steph Curry is getting ready to get humiliated, they say, you know what, Steph, we can't do that to you. We're going to stick Klay Thompson on that guy. We're going to stick him on a Russell Westbrook or on a Chris Paul. And then, and I say this all the time about the NBA, because guys only have one specific thing that they're great at, you can't take advantage of somebody like a Steph Curry. Because trust and believe me, if this was during the early 2000s, the 90s, or the 80s, trust and believe me, he would have to play defense. He would have to play defense. I remember watching the Bad Boys Pistons, and they said this themselves. Joe Dumars and Isaiah Thomas said, whoever is being guarded by Magic Johnson, go at him. They knew Magic couldn't play defense, and that's Magic. Now, don't get me wrong, Magic took on the challenge, but they made him play defense. Because the NBA, because guys are not as talented, because the NBA talent, to me, it really sucks right now. That's just my personal opinion. I think it's horrible. I think the guys in the NBA, I think the majority of these guys are awful basketball players. That's just my personal opinion. If you look at the NBA from top to bottom, to me, if you compare this NBA to the NBA of, say, the 2000s, I think that era would dominate this era. And these guys, they can't even take advantage of it. You don't even see guys who have a post-up game. Everybody wants to shoot the basketball now. That's what everybody wants to do. Everybody wants to shoot threes. Like, that's the only type of game that is associated with the NBA. No, you can get in the post. You can bang a little bit. You can face a guy up, take a guy off the dribble 15 feet from the basket, pull up, jump shot, or take the ball to the basket. These guys, they don't have that type of skills. So when you look at the fact that J.J. Redick is in the game, one thing he can do is sit there and shoot the basketball, and he ain't even do that good. But coming up on the Grizz, man, my head is hurting. Y'all just don't understand. Like, right on the left part of my head. That's why sometimes I gotta just tone it down. Sometimes I have to do that. But coming up on the Grizz, I'm gonna get off into me some boxing, and then Roger Goodell, has he lost that control that he loves to have? Here on the Grizz. Ron Rivera, players shouldn't have to do interviews after Super Bowl losses. Rivera suggested the league shouldn't have players from both teams being interviewed in the same room where they can hear each other, as the Panthers and the Broncos were. He called it, quote, tremendously unfair that players are put in a position of showing their raw emotion, as Newton did after the 24-10 loss to Denver. Here's my thing about that. You know what? Ron Rivera, nobody wants to hear your mouth. Like, seriously, I don't want to hear this. Your team went out there on countless occasions, having absolutely no class. For real, I'm going to be honest, they had absolutely no class, led by a guy in Cam Newton who had absolutely no class, and they was dapping, and, you know, after they won the NFC Championship game, they showed absolutely no class, and then they sit there, and then they lose, and then all of a sudden, your quarterback acts as if he has absolutely no sportsmanship. Come on now. Nobody wants to hear that. You sit there and your team dished it out, but then when it's time to sit there and take it, nah, I can't do that. Nah, that's not right. Man, I don't want to hear that. Seriously, I don't want to hear it. Your team went out there last year. Don't get me wrong. They came one game away from having one of the greatest seasons that a team has ever had. But in the biggest game, they choked. That's what they did. They choked. So I don't want to sit there and I don't want to hear him say something like this. I really don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear him say something like this. That's just for me. Negotiations to remove NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell as the final voice on all player appears under the personal conduct policy took a massive setback. NFL PA Executive Director Russ Smith said in an email to the union's executive committee. Now, I'm going to let you hear a clip from ESPN, and it's talking about it. It's about a minute and 50 seconds, and here it goes.
Toward the deal that would remove Roger Goodell as the disciplinarian for off-field incidents by players. That's according to the Wall Street Journal. What more can you tell us about this?
Well, I think the conditions are ripe for this, and this is something that has been discussed for quite some time. And when you see the NFL in the midst right now of the Tom Brady case still ongoing and the NFL getting clobbered in courts, as the NFLPA has pretty much made it its business to fight everything and to fight Goodell tooth and nail, I think that we could see this change. Goodell has said it in the past that he is open to discussions, and obviously they're discussing things behind the scene. But I think a couple of things that are important to point out here. Ever since the crisis that the NFL went through in 2014, there have been so many new senior management people brought into the NFL offices. So I think there's probably a possibility for a philosophical shift in terms of the people that Goodell is leaning on for advice and how they try to move forward. Now, by the same token, this Cold War between the NFL and the NFLPA has gone on for so long, and at some point, you think that the sides would get together to kind of have a thawing of, if you will, of that Cold War. But, you know, the NFL has its part in this too, because if you look back to the personal conduct policy that was instituted in 2014, I know one of the things that the union is so upset about is the fact that the NFL unilaterally just instituted that policy without the union's input. So when you think about where they go moving forward, getting together and talking about this is obviously a step in the right direction.
Now, I'm no fan of Roger Goodell. You know, I'm not going to sit there and say I'm not a fan of Roger Goodell. I'm not going to sit there and I'm not going to say that. But for me, you know, I got to look at the players and say, okay, so what has the man really done wrong? What? Because he sit there and he is on you guys about conducting yourself in the right manner, you know, conducting yourself like men and not disrespecting the shield, and you sit there, you want to get mad. Now, don't get me wrong. has he done things not the right way? Has he done things like when we sit and we look back at what happened with Ray Rice? I find that to be reprehensible what he did. It's like, okay, you sit there, you suspended him, but then people from the outside world sit there and they dictate it to you. That's not right. And I understand exactly where the NFLPA is coming from. I get it. But at the end of the day, NFL players seem to get in trouble more than any other league in professional sports, especially North American sports. I'm talking about the three major sports: basketball, football, and baseball. It seems like every time you look up, it's an NFL player doing something, whether it's an NFL player hitting a woman, abusing drugs, not abiding by the laws of the land. It's always something like that. And I think Roger Goodell has done a great job as far as, really trying to curve a lot of the look that the NFL is amassing to the public. And I think he's done a great job in that respect. But on the other hand, when you sit there and you see what happened with Ray Rice, it's like, okay, that's not a good look. And then he has had other occasions where he didn't look that good. And I know I said that that I kind of don't agree with the NFLPA, but now that I'm starting to talk about it, I don't think that he should have complete autonomy. I really don't think he should be the end-all, be-all. I don't believe that he should. And as a matter of fact, that's something that the NBA should have done to David Stern years and years ago. David Stern sat there and he ran the NBA with an iron fist. Whatever he said, it went. You couldn't sit there and you couldn't argue with David Stern. That lets you know how powerful the NFLPA is as compared to the NBA PA. The NBA PA was crappy in my opinion. Straight up crappy. It ain't my opinion. That's a fact, they was crappy. You look at the NFL PA, they're a little bit better to me. The best NFL, the best player association out there is baseball. To me, that's the best. But the NFL, they are somewhere in the middle. Rams return to Los Angeles to be featured on HBO's Hard Knocks. Here's my thing about that. When I watch Hard Knocks, and the thing that really makes me laugh when I think about Hard Knocks was when, who was that? Brian Cox, who played in the NFL, Super Bowl champion with the New England Patriots. And when he was on there, I think he was the linebackers coach or the defensive tackles coach for the Atlanta Falcons. And when he was on there, he had me rolling. He was so funny. Some of the things that he would say, I was like, yeah, he from the hood. Like you sit there and you listen to certain guys and then you see their mannerisms, you like, yeah, you from the hood. Like, you can't hide that. You from the hood. That was Brian Cox. And, like, from there on out, I always have to just watch NFL Hard Knocks simply because I'm hoping that I see somebody like Brian Cox. Now, as far as the Rams, I really don't care too much about it. Will I watch it? Yeah, I'll watch it. I'm going to watch it. I want to see what they have to say about this new move to LA. I really want to see what they have to say about it, how they feel. Am I going to be a Rams fan? No, I'm not. I'm not going to ever be a Rams fan. I'm a 49er fan through and through. But, nah, ain't no buts. I would never, ever be a Rams fan. But does that mean that I won't root for them? I'll probably root for them until they go up against my San Francisco 49ers. And then it's like, nah, I can't mess with you. I'm a 49er fan. But coming up on the Grizz, I'm going to get off into this here boxing. Andre S.O.G. Ward, he's getting ready to fight this Saturday. I want you guys to look at it. And then also, Alex Rodriguez says he's retiring after the 2017 season here on the Grizz. We're back, and this is The Grizz. I'd like to thank everybody for listening to me. Seriously, I do. But before I get off into this here sports, so I was on Facebook, and I saw something that really had me thinking that these companies, these food companies, is actually trying to kill me. I seriously believe that. I believe that the food industry people, they're trying to kill me. So I'm on Facebook, and they had, and I don't know if you guys have seen it, but on Facebook, they have this Big Mac from McDonald's, and they sit it on like this material, and then the individual winds up getting some lava, and then they pour the lava on the Big Mac. And you would think with lava, you would think that as soon as the lava touches the burger, that the burger will, just disintegrate. Nah, that didn't happen. It didn't happen. As soon as the lava touched the burger, it seems like the lava was like Superman or something. It just like flew off the burger, like nothing happened to the burger. A few minor, burns, but other than that, there was no significant scarring. And I'm saying to myself, wow, really? I actually put that in my system? Like they're trying to kill me. But I'm not even going to sit here and lie. After I seen that, I was saying to myself, man, I sure can go for a burger though. Like, don't get me wrong, I love those fish fillet sandwiches. Like, I wanted a fish fillet sandwich, and I'm really contemplating, should I actually get a fish fillet sandwich? But nah, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. I can't believe that they actually did that. Seriously. And if you sit there, and it's not only McDonald's. It's not only McDonald's. I sit there and I look at some of the food that I used to buy, because see, now I'm changing up the way in which I eat. I'm trying to eat good now, and certain things that I just don't eat that I used to eat, like potato chips. I really don't eat potato chips like I used to. After I got that scare about having diabetes or being pre-diabetic, and I think I talked to you guys about that, it scared me crapless. Like, seriously, it scared the living daylights out of me. And I said, you know what? I'm going to leave that stuff alone. I try not to eat too many carbs. But when you sit there and you read the back of the box and you see some of the things that they put in foods, it's like, okay, they're trying to kill me. They're like seriously, they're trying to kill me. How are they trying to kill me? They're trying to make this food so good. And we as Americans, we fall for it. That's why we're like the fattest country in the world. That's why so many people are walking around here fat, obese, diabetic, high blood sugar. My girl, she watches that 600-pound life stuff. And I'm telling you, I sit there and I watch these people and I'm saying, are you serious? You gotta be kidding me. Like, you're like 600 pounds, you got an oxygen tank hooked up to your body, and then you sitting up there, you can't get out the bed, but you're frying chicken in the bed. Who does that? That's the food. That's the power of the food. That's the companies trying to kill us. And then you sit there and then you watch the people, and then they're eating the chicken, and then they tell their loved ones, well, what I need for you to do is, I need for you to go to McDonald's. I need for you to give me, I want 4 chicken sandwiches, I want 2 double cheeseburger, I want a shake, and then I want 2 large order of fries. Like, dude, you 600 pounds. Come on, ma'am. 600 pounds. You need to put that away and you need to eat yourself a salad. And then when they do eat a salad, they put all the carbs and stuff in there. They eat it with rice. They eat it with beans. It's like, wow. The power of food is no joke. It really isn't. So people out there, we need to do better with our eating. Seriously, we need to do better. Now, enough of that. Sean Payton agrees to a 5-year extension with the Saints. The extension is worth an excess of $45 million, a source told ESPN insider Ed Water. Payton, who has coached the Saints for 10 years, was already one of the highest NFL paid coaches at $8.5 million in his previous deal, which ran through the 2017 season. Payton revealed the news actually pointing to his briefcase, which contained the unsigned contract. Among active coaches, only Bill Belichick of the Patriots, 16 seasons, Marvin Lewis of the Bengals 13 season and Mike McCarthy of the Packers 10 have been with their teams longer than Peyton, who has been in New Orleans for 9 seasons, not including his 2012 suspension. Peyton has gone 87-57 in the regular season with 5 playoff appearances and 1 Super Bowl title in 2009. His playoff record is 6-4. What do I think about this signing? I actually think it's good. That's assuming that they're going to get that defense right. See, one thing I like about Sean Payton offensively is kid genius. I love the way in which his offense work. I love it. And then you have Drew Brees, who's in the final year of his contract coming up. That guy makes that offense go. Sean Payton, offensively speaking, is kid genius. Now, when it comes to the defensive side of the ball, he's kid dumb. Like, he has absolutely no clue as to how to run a defense. So that means that he's not a complete coach. But one thing about football, you don't have to be that, especially if you can get you a guy who actually knows the defensive side of the ball, like a Buddy Ryan. You can get somebody like that, he'll be copacetic. He'll be okay. And another reason why I like the deal, Sean Payton brought that team from nowhere. I remember growing up watching the Saints, and this is the same team that gave up all their draft picks to get Ricky Williams, a running back. Now, we all know that in the NFL, nobody respects the running back. It's not valued at all. But that's the Saints. That's what they did. And he sat there and he changed the whole culture of the game or of that team. And I think it's actually a good deal. I was hoping that the San Francisco 49ers would have landed somebody like a Sean Payton. That's what I wanted. The guy can coach. He can coach offensively. But defensively, yeah, he's dumber than some rocks. Like, seriously, he has absolutely no clue as to what he's doing. Now, Alex Rodriguez says he will retire after the 2017 season. Rodriguez, and see, here's the thing that gets me about Alex Rodriguez. He's entering the 2016 season with 687 career home runs, 3,070 hits with 2,055 RBIs. He needs just 28 home runs to pass Babe Ruth for third on the all-time list. He is 69 away from passing Hank Aaron for second, and he needs 76 more to overtake Barry Bonds and become the all-time home run king. That's crap to me. This guy's a steroid user. And for he and Barry Bonds to, one, surpass Hank Aaron, and then for this guy who is probably going to surpass Hank Aaron, and then the great Bambino. It's like, that lets me know that baseball is not in a good shape. It really isn't, when you have a guy who sit there and made a ton of money simply because he was on that stuff. He was on that hope juice. And I just think it's unfortunate. I really do. But I remember watching Alex Rodriguez when we was with Ken Griffey Jr. in Seattle, and I don't think he was on that stuff then. But I looked at this guy and I said, man, this guy right here, he's going to be good. He was tall. He was athletic. He was a 5-tool player. I'm looking at this guy and I'm saying, man, that dude right there going to be something special. But I didn't know he was going to be that type of special. I didn't think he was going to be that. And then Alex Rodriguez, do you know how much money he has made from baseball? He has made $420 million in salary at the end of the 2017 season. That's how much money he would have made from baseball. And I really think, and I really believe that baseball should take his money back. I know they can't do it. But they have to do something. This guy's getting ready to pass up Babe Ruth, and he's getting ready to pass up Hammer and Hank Aaron for the all-time home run list. And I just don't think that's fair. That's just for me. I don't think it's fair. So they need to be able to do something to say, you know what, this what you deserve when you do this. And here's the thing. I actually think that he would have been a great player if he didn't use it. But if you listen to Alex Rodriguez, he said he started using it because of the contract that he had got from the Texans. So when he got that contract, it was like, okay, I have that pressure. See, that's where greatness come in. See, greatness is also not using things that others would use, knowing that you have a God-given ability, something that only the Lord has blessed you with. And he didn't believe that. He just didn't. But coming up on the Grizz, I know I've been talking about this, and I'm going to get to it. I got to talk about Andre SOG Ward. I got to talk about my boys getting ready to fight this Saturday. Next here on the Grizz. NFL moves touchback to the 25-yard line, approves ejection for 2 unsportsmanlike penalties. Here's my thing about that. I actually think it's actually a good rule. You have some coaches out there who don't like this rule. They say that, well, if my guy gets the first one, then the second one, they're going to provoke him to get another penalty. I'm here to tell them that the NBA, they have what we call flagrant foul 1 and flagrant foul 2, and guys are smart enough to understand that teams will sit there and put a guy in the game who's just there to provoke them to wrath. It's up to the coach to understand, hey, look, dude, they're going to be gunning for you. So I need for you to keep your head in this game, man. Do you understand me? Keep your head in the game. You already got one. Don't be stupid enough to get the next one. Be smart. They're going to do something. They're going to try to get you out your game. But this guy that they're going to send in, he's a bum. He means absolutely nothing. You're our guy. So coaches have to do a better job in conveying this message to their players. And I know that coaches will sit there and they will make the proper changes. I know they will. I know they will. Now, as far as the touchback to the 25-yard line, going up, I actually think it's actually pretty good. The NFL, they really believe that kickoff coverages, they think that that's the most dangerous part of the game. So they're doing this simply to try to curb some of the impact that we see in the National Football League. So it used to be you get a touchback, it will be at the 20-yard line. Now it's a 25-yard line. I'm all for safety. Now, before I get to my boxing, because I've been wanting to get to my boxing, I've been wanting to get to it. Jim Caldwell says that Calvin Johnson made the right decision in retiring. What was he supposed to say? Really, what was he supposed to say? Like, man, he made the wrong decision. Now I'm stuck with a guy who, as a quarterback, he's fickle in his decision making. Now I'm going to lose my job. Like, he can't come out and he can't say that. Even though I know that's what he's thinking. Like, Matt Stafford, yeah, he can play. He's not a bum. But when I need for him to make the right decisions, he can't do it. He's not a leader. And then the guy that used to always bail him out, he's no longer here. So now I got to rely on this guy. Damn. Man, I'm getting ready to lose my job. I know that has to be going in his head. I know it has to be going in his head. I know it has to be. You're looking at Matt Stafford, you're saying, okay, he's no Aaron Rodgers. He's no Tom Brady. He's not on that level. Man, I miss Calvin Johnson. Calvin Johnson, why did you have to go, man? Don't do me like this. Don't leave me. But, hey, Calvin Johnson felt like it was the right decision for he and his family. And I can't sit there and I can't knock a man for feeling that way. Golden State coach Steve Kerr said his players have earned the power to influence whether or not they'll be rested as the team nears the NBA record for wins in a season and the playoffs approach. Hold on, let me read that all over again. I gotta do that all over again. Golden State coach Steve Kerr said his players have earned the power to influence whether or not they'll be rested as the team nears the NBA record for wins in a season and the playoffs approach. I think that's good. Seriously, I do. At the end of the day, if I'm the players, you do want to break that Chicago Bulls record and have the record for the most wins in the season at 73. I understand all that. But what's the use in having that, and then you turn around and then you lose to the San Antonio Spurs? Because I do believe that the San Antonio Spurs will ultimately beat them in the Western Conference Finals. Kevin Durant, and I just lamented about those two teams and how, and I've done that throughout on this show, how those two teams, they merit, Steph Curry and company, and they won't be there. So it's pretty much going to be between the Spurs and Golden State. They might as well get ready for it because that's what's getting ready to happen, and they're going to lose. So what's the use in having that record when you're going to lose? So I think Steve Kerr is pretty much saying that, do they want this record, or then they want to be rested for the postseason, for that push? Because at the end of the day, there's not a lot of people out there, including myself, who really respects what the Golden State Warriors was able to accomplish when they won that championship. I really don't. I don't like. I look at it and I say, yeah, they won it, but they won it, but what if? It's a lot of buts and a lot of what ifs. If this guy was healthy from that team, what would have happened? But this guy, or but that, it was always something. So they have a lot to prove. They really do. They have a lot to prove. If they win this championship, it legitimizes what they did with the first championship. Now you won back to back, and then it's time to get a third one. It's time to be up there with the Los Angeles Lakers. It's time to be up there with the Boston Celtics, and then it's time to be up there with Michael Jeffrey Jordan and the Chicago Bulls. So if you're up there with that type of talent, now you have cemented your legacy. Now, you're already great. Now you take it to a whole nother level. Now you're elite of the elite. Now, after saying all of that, now I get a chance to get to my boxing. But before I do that, I got to go to break. So I'll see you. This coming Saturday, Andre SOG Ward versus Sylvan Barrera. That fight will be coming on HBO. So I hope, girls and guys, I hope you're ready for this here fight. It's going to be beautiful. Andre SOG Ward, son of God. This is a bad man. But before I go on, I just want to talk a little bit about boxing. You know, I don't know if people are starting to really get this. I've been watching so much of the MMA. I've been watching so much of it. Not like I'm watching the fights, because I don't watch the fights. I'm more of a boxing man, for those of you who have heard me. You know, I box myself. But I've noticed that I'm starting to see a lot more promos, commercials on the airwaves. And it seems like, for my standpoint, for my view, that the MMA has pretty much taken over boxing. See, at first, people don't understand this. Back in the day, and I know I'm always talking about 40s and 50s when it comes to boxing, and then I start talking about the NBA, I start talking about the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s. That's when basketball was at its finest. And then as far as boxing, that's when boxing was at its finest during the 30s, 40s, and 50s. That's where the majority of the great fighters, that's where they fought at. A lot of those guys who fought during that time, if they fought in this era, they would knock out pretty much 95% of the fighters. And I'm being seriously honest with you. I'm not even lying. I'm not being facetious. But when I watch the MMA, I'm starting to notice that it's constantly on ESPN. It's constantly, I watch the commercials and things like that. But at the end of the day, one thing that cannot be denied, those MMA fighters, they come and they learn how to fight from boxers. They learn how to throw punches from boxers. One thing about we in the boxing world, there's nothing that anyone from the MMA can teach us. They can't teach us how to do absolutely nothing. There's nothing that they can teach us, but we can teach them things. And that's why boxing is the sweet science. That's why it's the sweet science. That's why, for me, the greatest athlete that has ever, the greatest athlete, period, is Muhammad Ali. No disrespect to Michael Jordan, none whatsoever. But if you haven't been in the ring and have to bounce on your toes with 15 rounds, trust and believe me, it's extraordinarily hard to do that. My style is Muhammad Ali. I can float like a butterfly and sting like a bee. Not like Muhammad Ali. Don't get me wrong. I can't do it like that, but I know how to bounce on my feet. I know how to fight exactly like Muhammad Ali. I know how to do it. But the thing about Muhammad Ali, what made him so great was the fact that he ran 3 miles forward, and then he ran 3 miles running backwards. Michael Jordan didn't do that. I'm just being, he didn't do that. So that makes him the greatest athlete, being that big and then being able to move so gracefully, moving around like he's a 135-pounder. That was Muhammad Ali. Now, let me get back to the lecture at hand. Andre SOG Ward. I have what I call a man crush on Andre SOG Ward. He's my favorite fighter in boxing. The guy, and he's a brother of faith. So I'm really feeling this dude. I just don't want him to let me down. I don't want Andre Ward to let me down. And then you're probably saying, okay, so what's so good about Andre Ward? Why are you even talking about SOG? Why are you mentioning his name? Well, the reason why I'm mentioning his name simply is because in boxing, the Olympics at one point in time was something extraordinary for amateur fighters. Now, when I talk about the Olympics, who are some of the fighters who were Olympic gold medalists? I'm talking about people like Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, George Foreman, who else is out there? Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker. Oscar De La Hoya, and countless of other individuals who won gold medals. Now, Andre SOG Ward was the last Olympic gold medalist in 2004. In 2012, we didn't have not one fighter. We did not have one fighter who medaled. Not one. That's pretty much like the Olympic. Remember when the Dream Team, when they won the bronze medal, who was that? Larry Brown was the coach, and how everyone was so upset that they performed so poorly? That's how that is compared to. We didn't even medal in boxing. We didn't medal. And for the longest time, we had the greatest fighters that the world has ever seen. That's why I'm talking about Andre Ward. That's how significant that gold medal is. And he's getting ready to fight Sylvan Barrera, a guy from Cuba. Now, the Cubans, they can fight. But I'm hoping that Andre Ward, I know he's going to pull it out. He has a old school type style to him. He works that jab. I always talk about the jab being the most important punch in boxing. I always talk about the jab, how I'm always make the comparison with the NBA and how the big man, you don't really see it anymore. You just don't see it. Or in football, at one point in time, the running back was the most vocal part of the team. If you had a great running back, everything else could be okay. Why? Because that running back was going to bring that defense down in the box. So once you bring that defense down in the box, boom, I take you deep. So that's how important the jab is. And Andre Ward, he does that better than anyone in the game. He has an extraordinary jab. He will crack you with that jab. And then another reason why I'm talking about Andre Ward is because I'm looking forward to him fighting Sergey Kovalev. If he wins this fight, hopefully the Sergey Kovalev, he's from Russia. This guy is nothing nice. He's oh my man, he's a monster in the ring. He don't play no games. After he beats his opponent, you see certain fighters go over and they hug the opponent like, good job, and you did a good job, and I hope you do good on your other fights. He doesn't do that. He's a mean dude, and he will hit you with that right hand, and then he's under John David Jackson. He's teaching him all the tricks, who was a fighter here in America. So I'm looking for that fight to take place. Andre Ward is a bad man. Seriously, if you haven't watched Andre SOG Ward out of Oakland, out of the Bay Area, I urge you to watch him. When I tell you that this man has skills, watch him, check him out, and then tell me what you think. But this is the Grizz. I love y'all, and I'm out.